Good morning. Early episode today. I have a hell of a meeting today, and I'm getting to work a bit early than normal. I always go to work early. That's if you want to get work done before your office opens. That's the best way to go about it. That's the only thing I've ever really found out. It just turns into you can never control your day as well as you can when unless you get to work before everyone else does. So it is a bright and early morning. It is 7:02 at the moment. I'm about halfway to work already. I was thinking the other day. It's the worst interchange. Getting on to 35W on next to downtown Minneapolis is a cluster cluck. I'm trying to figure out if I want to cuss on this or not. I guess we'll find out. I've found myself my little road rage moments that I've captured here. I can't have much of a filter, so because Minnesotan drivers are morons. If you want to go, the fast lane is not the left lane in Minnesota. It's actually the right lane. Because people camp in the left lane because they don't want to deal with people merging and crap, and they just sit and don't do jack about it, and literally they will go 55 in the left lane, and sure, that's the speed limit, but we all know the left lane is for speeders and the right lane is for going the speed limit. That's how it should be. It is a beautiful Thursday morning here in the great northern state. Sun's out, blinding. You can see it right there. And let's just turn on the news here.
It's limiting the ability of landlords to screen rental applicants based on criminal, credit, and eviction records is headed to a city council vote next month.
Yep.
The council's housing committee unanimously endorsed the measure yesterday. Martin Moylan has more.
The committee action came after a 2.5-hour hearing. Renters and their advocates argued the ordinance would help people who've put past mistakes behind them find housing. Landlords contended the proposed law could endanger tenants, push up rents, and drive small landlords out of business. Margie Pierce said that small landlords like her can't afford to end up with bad tenants.
It's extremely distressing not knowing if you're going to hit a month when nobody turns in those rent checks as a private person whose pockets are not endlessly deep.
One landlord suggested the city compensate property owners for any ordinance-related losses. Martin Moylan, NPR News.
Ridgefield-based Best Buy is reporting strong quarterly profits, but it says revenue fell short, and shares of the retailer fell 6% in pre-market trading. The electronics retailer says profit was driven by cost reductions and efficiencies. Construction has started on a new park pavilion and plaza on the Minneapolis riverfront near the Stone Arch Bridge. Tim Nelson has more.
Called Waterworks, the new park area will expose some of the buried historical features of the mill ruin site and better connect downtown to the St. Anthony Falls area. The pavilion will also host the first restaurant by James Beard Award-winning chef Sean Sherman, who specializes in Native American-inspired cuisine. He says he hopes to return a forgotten legacy to the falls on the river.
It's just something that's really, I feel, important to have the indigenous perspective on this waterfront, to really talk about some of the histories that go much deeper than what we see as the city. Right here in front of a really sacred Dakota area.
The $30 million project is underway just upstream from the landmark Stone Arch Bridge on the downtown side of the river. It's expected to be under construction through 2023. Tim Nelson, NPR News.
In sports, the Twins beat the White Sox last night in Chicago 8-2. Jonathan Scope hit 2 home runs. The two teams close out a 3-game series this afternoon in Chicago. The University of Minnesota begins the football season tonight against South Dakota State at TCF Bank Stadium. The Vikings close out the preseason in Buffalo against the Bills. Some showers in the Arrowhead this morning, otherwise sunny today. High temperatures upper 60s to mid 70s. Right now 57 at MSP. This is NPR News at 7:07.
Programming is supported by the Minnesota Corn Growers Association, working with the American Lung Association to support E85, a cleaner fuel choice developed to reduce harmful auto emissions. Visit mnfuels.com for an E85 station near you.
Support comes from Maplewood Toyota, offering the reminder the national clearance event is going on now. You can visit Maplewood Toyota today to choose from hundreds of hybrids, including Prius, Camry, RAV4, and Highlander. Online at maplewoodtoyota.com.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. Good morning, I'm David Green.
And I'm Rachel Martin. The Democrats' race for the White House has been reduced by one. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is dropping out of the race. Here's a bit from the video announcement that came out last night.
I know this isn't the result we wanted. We wanted to win this race. But it's important to know when it's not your time and to know how you can best serve your community and country.
The New York senator decided to leave the crowded Democratic field after failing to qualify for September's debate. 10 candidates total did make the cut. They had to meet the Democratic National Committee's polling and fundraising threshold. Midnight was the deadline for meeting that threshold. We're expecting a formal announcement from the DNC about that later today. NPR senior political editor Domenico Montanaro is with us to talk about all the details. Hi, Domenico.
Hey there, Rachel.
Who's in? Who made it?
Well, 10 people made it. I'll go through them just quickly. Former Vice President Joe Biden, Senators Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, and Amy Klobuchar, as well as Mayor Pete Buttigieg, former Obama Housing Secretary Julian Castro, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, who recently rebooted his campaign, and entrepreneur Andrew Yang. So there you go, just half the candidates in the first round of debates.
So what happens if you didn't make the debate stage? At this point, is your campaign essentially over?
Well, not necessarily. The candidates will have another chance to make the debate stage in October with the same criteria. So we very well may see a larger group actually in October than we have now, and a return to maybe the candidates being split over 2 nights. But for some candidates, it certainly has meant the end. I mean, you played the clip of Gillibrand. Others have dropped out already. They've struggled to stand out in this field. I mean, it's almost 24 candidates who've been seeking to take on President Trump. So these debates have really served as something of a first primary in a way, you know, with the winnowing that they've done.
Right, except no one has actually cast a ballot in terms of voters, which is why some people are miffed. I want to talk about the front runners, though. Biden, Warren, Sanders. They are all going to be on the same debate stage together for the first time, right?
Yep, and that's really the most significant dynamic in this upcoming debate. You know, Sanders' camp continues to say that he won't go after Warren unless they're the last two standing. You know, he sees her as an ally for changing the country to be something more along the progressive lines of what he wants to see. Biden has been the focus of other candidates in the first 2 rounds of debates. Given that he continues to lead in the polls, he'll probably be the focus again. So for his part, he told reporters in South Carolina yesterday he welcomes the shrinking field.
I'm looking forward to getting to the place, assuming I'm still around, that it gets down to a smaller number of people so we can have more of a discussion instead of 1-minute assertions.
Well, I mean, debates are always going to be kind of 1-minute assertions, so he kind of knows that. But he really needs to show some crispness in this upcoming debate that he really lacked, especially in that first debate, when Democrats are really looking for someone who can take on Trump. Otherwise, they're going to look elsewhere. And we've seen Elizabeth Warren continue to rise in not just the polls, but fundraising and crowd size.
Yeah. So I want to get back to this idea about the DNC and the debates being like a first primary, so to speak. They set the qualifying rules. How are those who didn't make the cut for this debate reacting?
Well, pretty typically, I'd say for candidates who don't make a debate stage, some are complaining about the process, like you were noting. So here was Tulsi Gabbard on Fox News.
The whole thing gets a little bit confusing, and you've got to jump way down into the weeds of the numbers and the statistics. But I think the bigger problem is that the whole process really lacks transparency.
Right.
People deserve having that transparency because ultimately it's the people who will decide who our Democratic nominee will be and ultimately who our next president, commander-in-chief will be.
Yeah, I mean, the Hawaii Congresswoman, they're talking about the rules and the process. The criteria for the debate has been out there for quite some time. She just didn't reach it. So, transparency is certainly one of the things that some candidates like to talk about in these instances, but we've known what they are for a while.
And the fact of the matter is, it is just an unprecedentedly large field, right? So we don't,
Absolutely.
This is all kind of new territory. I'm going to put you on the spot. We know Kirsten Gillibrand is ending her run. Who do you think is next?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not going to try to predict that. I will say one thing though. Tom Steyer is somebody who spent $12 million on ads and other things to try to get onto this debate stage. He failed to do so, but we may see him in October. We'll see.
Okay, NPR senior political editor Domenico.
So, one thing that really irks me about our political system, there was 24 candidates running for, the Democratic, presidential nomination. It's been going on for damn near a year now. Why are we only having these ginormous debates? Why is there no actual discussions happening between these candidates outside of these, nationally televised debates there? Why isn't Bernie Sanders talking to Elizabeth Warren? Why aren't they debating? There's no reason why they cannot meet up and go on TV, go on YouTube, and have an argument, have a discussion. Why is it that we are only going up to these major events where we don't learn much about the candidates? It's not a true discussion. It's only superficial jabs and quips on how they stand, and then these quick little moral outrage rants that they can fit into a minute with no actual depth to the actual conversation. It's not that they can't debate, it's that they don't want to debate. They would much rather go around and where they can determine the parameters of what they're going to be speaking in and to, and not be pushed on anything. They would much rather basically, have a conversation in their own house with nobody. That is one of the things that I really do not like about our politicians in general, is there is no actual looking for a discussion. When Joe Biden says, "Oh, I'm happy it's down to 10 because now we can have the real conversations," you could have whittled it down yourself. You could have talked to after Kamala Harris destroyed you in the first debate, you could have reached out, had a fuller discussion on that with her. You have YouTube. There's no reason why you wouldn't be able to explore these topics deeper with the people that you disagree with. If anything, the debates, could be just a start to the actual discussion. So, oh, hey, we talked about this during the debate. Let's explore that further. You didn't agree with how I felt on busing. Let's talk about that. Let's how that affected you and what my position was. Instead, it's sick burn in these regimented time slots. So it's for them to say that they are actually looking for a true and open discussion. That's not true, because if more than one, because it only takes two to actually have done something about it. So even if Joe Biden was someone that wanted to have a more of a conversation, then that means the other 23 didn't, because no one would want to take them up on it. That is the real thing that I think is it's scary when it comes to our democracy, because we don't want to have true and open conversations. I was thinking back when after the 2016 election, Ted Cruz and Bernie Sanders went on Fox News and they had a debate, they had a discussion, and it was very good. It was civil. People got it was a much deeper conversation, and I think that is very, very good for the country. Just to have two people, no agenda, no real time limits, just discuss these debates or discuss these topics. Who cares if you talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours on a single topic? because it's either you can talk for an hour about 100 topics and not really have any kind of a conversation, or talk for an hour about a single topic and truly understand people's stances on that there. They try to make it seem like if you talk too much about a certain topic, it's boring, or it's it becomes uninformative, unappealing, and you're wasting people's times. No, it's when you talk about 100 topics in an hour is when you're wasting real people's times. You just don't feel it because our short attention spans. We look for to jump from topic to topic, and to these little 1 minute sick burns that people do on each other. They practice that shit beforehand. They could just say it in a speech and we'd know what they're getting at. So yeah.
Officials with the Homeless Services Authority dispute the findings and say the report looks at one small slice of what they do. They also say that identifying people on the streets who need help is important, but to really solve LA's homelessness crisis, elected officials need to create more affordable housing. Heidi Marston is LAHSA's Chief Program Officer.
We can't lose sight of the permanent housing at the end that really is going to be the true way that we resolve homelessness in LA.
To combat homelessness and housing instability, one report found that LA needs more than 500,000 affordable apartments to meet existing demand from low-income renters. For NPR News, I'm Anna Scott in Los Angeles.
And later this afternoon on All Things Considered, in 2017, a gunman opened fire on a country music festival in Las Vegas. People who are living in the U.S. without legal status were among those in the crowd. Now, some of them are pursuing a special visa created to help crime victims feel safe, coming forward to assist law enforcement. Listen to that story by asking your smart speaker to play NPR or your local member station by name.
Coming up on Morning Edition, we will take you to a very small town in western Minnesota that will see great growth this weekend. An influx of 50,000 people. Why will that happen? More in a couple minutes. It's 7:19.
It's Thursday, and on All Things Considered, Paul Hucker joins us for Climate Cast, an in-depth look at the science behind climate change.
So they were talking about the Las Vegas shooting that happened 2 years ago. That is a very interesting topic. The fact that we don't know really jack about what had occurred there. I mean, we know the guy had a bump stock and a rifle, and that's about it. How he got, the room there would have been, he was in a hotel in Las Vegas. If you've ever been to Las Vegas, you know there's a shit ton of cameras everywhere. Why was nothing released? Why do we not have any video of him, entering the hotel? Nothing has been talked about. It's a very odd situation there. How literally just darn near no information has been given to the general public, has been covered by the news there. There was reports of additional shooters that had were there. How in the hell? I feel like there was some due diligence not done on that. Guys, I am at work. It is 7:20 in the morning here. I wanted to get here at 7, but yeah, slept in for 20 minutes. So I very much enjoyed having you guys here on my drive to work. Give me a like, share, subscribe. I always ask for that after at the end of the video because I feel like I've earned it a little more. Give me a goddamn like. All right, you guys have a great day. Good morning. Have fun at work. If you're seeing this after work, welcome home. Tomorrow's Friday. There we go.